about a very important field in information technology, which is ethics, privacy, and security. Ethics is what makes a behavior distinguished from being right or being wrong. Moving on to the ethical frameworks, which is the perspective useful for the reasoning of what action provides the best outcome. There are two major ethical frameworks, although there are a lot, but these two major ethical frameworks are being used in our day-to-day activities in the business organization or in our private life. The first ethical framework is the natural law and rights, and the second is utilitarianism. The natural laws and rights judges the morality of an action based on how well it adheres or broadly accepts rules, regulations, and actions of an individual, and it doesn't talk about the consequences of their action. Utilitarianism weighs the good effects against the harmful ones and speaks about the consequences of each ethical remedy. In conclusion, information technology ethics studies ethical issues arising out of the use and development of electric technology.
Good day everyone, my name is Ofebu Kosarachi Roots, and I'm here to speak on how intellectual property and plagiarism poses challenges for information ethics and also the technologies that are used to deal with this problem. Then I'll first give a detailed definition of what intellectual property and plagiarism is all about before I move on to how it affects information ethics. So for intellectual property, we can say is the bedrock of an organization's intellectual capital and competitive advantage. That is, it contributes to the value and success of an organization, business, or an individual. Then I move on to the definition of plagiarism. Plagiarism is just simply defined as a type of intellectual property theft. It's like a theft of intellectual property that has to do with an individual reproducing words of another person in his own place and passing it off as his own original work without referring or giving credit to the original source where the work came from. And such works can include intangible assets like written works of an individual, be it novel, be it spoken softwares, art, designs, movies. Moving on to the technology used to deal with intellectual property, the technology used here is the digital rights management technology, and this technology is used as a business model and also by software developers, publishers, media companies, and other intellectual property owners. They use it to control access to their digital content. Like they use this technology in order to curb and control access and cases of theft of their work they have done and they put out there in the digital world.
The next objective is on information privacy and strategies to protect it, and why organizations should implement surveillance. By Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, once said, "If you have something you do not want anyone to know about, maybe you shouldn't be doing it in the first place." Stern warnings like this comes from technology leaders who should know about our information, and they act as stark reminders who informs us of how elusive privacy has become. On a typical day, we visit hundreds of websites, we download hundreds of thousands of videos, we upload a batch of photos, we accept lots of cookies, we click on some ads. Security camera capture our photo, swipe store our credit card, our car, our mobile phones, our car EZ pass. Then the GPS also tracks our whereabouts.
I'll be talking about the fourth objectives, which explains the steps in which organizations use to manage security risk, identify threats, access vulnerabilities, and develop the technical and administrative control. Starting with information security. Information security covers the protection of an organization's assets against misuse, unauthorized access, loss, destruction, and so on. Organizations might not be able to completely eliminate risk due to limitations in budget and threats posed, but organizations might try to reduce this risk by mitigating it. The other control is the technical security control. The technologies available to protect information assets helps with three important aspects: deterring attacks, preventing attacks, and detecting that an attack occurred. For example, surveillance cameras can be used to deter unauthorized entry. Even the automated message that shows on our system login screen. There are examples of technical security controls that can be put in place. We have the authentication strategies that can be used to prevent unauthorized access. These authentication strategies rely on something the user knows, like the user ID, password, something the user has in his possession, like the ID, like the probably ID card, a chip, a badge card, a credit card, or something. And then lastly, something the user is, like a characteristics, a biometric characteristics like fingerprint, the face ID, voice pattern, and so on. Another example of technical security control is encryption. Encryption is a powerful technical control that protects sensitive data. This can be used for both storage and data transmission. Another example is the intrusion prevention and detection system. We have the firewalls. Firewalls is the administrative security controls. These controls include all the policies, processes, and plans an organization creates to enhance information security and ensure it can recover when danger occurs. Some controls may establish the information security policies that restrict the internet sites that employees can visit or deny internet access. Such policies might prohibit employees from downloading data on their smartphones or USB drives. Industries that handle this sensitive information will need to put in place measures to protect this information and ensure, like, there are measures put in place to enforce them. The processes and policies that control employees' access to system are some of the most sensitive. Administrative controls to enhance information security extend beyond the organization to its vendors, suppliers, customers, and so on. For example, what's background?
And I'm here to talk about the reasons why human behavior are often the weakest links for ethnic privacy and security. But before I dive right in, it is important to note that no matter how advanced or sophisticated technologies or securities are, human factor will always be a major constraint. And this is because we are humans and we are bound to make mistakes. And there are people who take advantage of these mistakes and use them to their advantage, which brings about tremendous losses to businesses. Now here are some of the reasons why human behavior are often seen as the weakest links. 1. Choosing weak password on a privileged account. 2. Using personal accounts to run services. 3. Using high privileged accounts when not necessary. Now the major question here is, how can these issues be solved? 1. Information Security Agency policy should be made available to employees, and the organization should adopt it to their targeted audience. Lastly, he or she should. Now, the major question here is, how can these all issues be solved? 1. Information Security Agency policy should be made available to employees, and the organization should adopt it to the targeted audience. And lastly, the end users are important links to information system technology, and he or she should therefore receive proper potential security